Okay, Dr. Pingle here. What I wanted to show you next was a way to visualize this data using tree maps, which are a hierarchical kind of chart. So we've downloaded the natural Earth data for the sovereign countries. We've tabulated the data using a pivot table, and now maybe we want to visualize this data. The very simplest way of visualizing data with a tree map essentially means you're going to break things down by category and by place. So we might take, for instance, the UN region, our population estimate, and our individual place. So we're going to group this together by admin level. So we're going to hit Control C here, and I'm just going to paste this into a new worksheet. Now I want to rearrange this a little bit. So what I want is my top level category here, which is region, to be on the left hand side. So I'm going to insert this and just move this over. Okay. What I want to do now is create a tree map. So I'm going to visualize this data. And to do that, I'm going to highlight my data here and then click on Insert Hierarchy Chart and Tree Map. Now, by default, it looks a little bit cluttered. So each individual place, the size of the box is scaled to its population. So in a way, this is a little bit like a cartogram. But what I want to do first, what I want to do to kind of clean this up a little bit is group these things together. So I'm going to sort by region. So here we're going to sort by region. A to Z is fine. And we get something that looks like this. So this is quite a bit cleaner of a look. We could decide whether we want to include this legend, and obviously, like anything else, you could go in here and change the title, and you could change the appearance of all of these. Very easy things to do, right? Already that looks a little bit better. But we can see Asia here is a big yellow block, individual countries, so China and India. This is the Africa block, this is the Europe block, and all of this stuff is in the legend. So this is a nice way, again, of sort of summarizing and visualizing our data. What I wanted to do is go back and show you how you can use pivot tables in combination with these as well, with these tree maps. So this is the pivot table that we had used to summarize. So this is summary information based on UN region and subregion. So maybe this is a little bit cluttered and it's difficult to sort of see individual countries. Maybe what we want to do is summarize by subregion. We've already done that, but what we can do is we can go in here and we can change the way this is organized to be able to build a pivot table out of it. So if we want to build a pivot table where we have a line Africa that corresponds to a admin region, and it's sort of this one-to-one relationship, whereas we don't have that here, right? This is what's called an outline view. So we're going to go in to region and change how this looks. So we're going to go into field settings. And one of the things we can do is we can say, well, we don't really want these summary statistics in here. That's going to throw off the tree map. So we set that to none, and then those go away. We can go in and do this again and say, well, we want to actually change this a little bit. We want to look at these things in tabular form, which will move it to something a little bit more conventional that looks like this. But we still don't have, so this is kind of a nice way of visualizing the data, and you may actually prefer this just in general. But we may want to change this so that, Africa is repeated in all of these rows as well. So we can do that. We can go into field settings and change this to repeat item labels. And then we get Africa showing up for all of these. So now each one of these has an entry. Now, ordinarily, you really shouldn't have to do this next part, but I am not yet aware of a good way around this. So in order to create a tree map, ordinarily what we would like to do is select all of these. And maybe I leave the 7 Cs off because there aren't enough people there to make a good visualization. We hit Insert Hierarchy Chart and we hit Tree Map, but we get this. So it says select a different chart type or copy the data outside the pivot table. So that's what we're going to do. We're just going to select our data here. Make sure we get it all. And copy, and we're just going to paste that here right next to it. I'm going to paste the values. It's a nice trick to kind of get rid of any extra formatting or formulas that might be in here that you don't want. This is an exact replication of what you see over here, only the difference now is that I can make a tree map out of this. So I can select all of this and make a tree map that looks something like this. So here we're breaking these things down. This is not that much different than what we just saw, and we can actually do things like move this chart to a new sheet to maybe get a better view of it. But here we're breaking this out again by Africa, the Americas, all of our major regions, and then we can look at the populations by subregions. And so this is a handy way of sort of both summarizing the data, whether you're using pivot tables, and then visualizing that summary or hierarchical data using tree maps. So thanks for listening, and we'll catch you next time.